In late March, news broke of at least 6 B-2 stealth bombers being moved to a U.S. military installation at Diego Garcia. The reason? Well, President Donald Trump wants to make a deal, something Iran vehemently rejected. Now, with the threat of possible bombing raids on Iranian facilities, the country has hit back, taking aim at this key U.S. military base. As Iran draws closer to creating a nuclear weapon of its own, tensions in the Middle East are rising, spelling doom for the world should things not be resolved. With a plethora of options to punish Iran, today, we unpack how and if Iran can actually strike the U.S.-based Diego Garcia, and what implications this holds for the world. There will be a strike. There will be no distinction in targeting British or American forces if Iran is attacked from any base in the region or within the reach of Iranian missiles. When the time comes, it won't matter whether you're an American, British, or Turkish soldier, you will be targeted if your base is used by Americans. These were the words of a senior Iranian military official in recent days, directly suggesting that Iran is in the process of planning a retaliatory strike should the United States attack. This follows a tongue-lashing by President Donald Trump, as Iran is no longer abiding by the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA for short. Under the agreement, which was set up by the US, Russia, China, France, and the UK, the main goal was to continuously monitor Iran's nuclear efforts and ensure they don't get their hands on a powerful nuclear warhead. But now, Iran is defying this agreement. Having already reached uranium enrichment of 60%, they are getting ever closer to the 90% needed to create a nuclear weapon. This by itself seems to frustrate U.S. President Donald Trump, who has not only placed a third of the B-2 bomber fleet on Diego Garcia, but ordered the USS Carl Vinson to join the Harry S. Truman in the Red Sea. Iran is not taking this lying down and is in the process of coordinating its own possible strike on the U.S. military installation. Given the fact that the B-2 Spirit is a flagship of the United States Air Force and cost the U.S. taxpayer a whopping $2 billion, it is no wonder this is a very serious threat. A single hit on Diego Garcia could wipe out close to $12 billion worth of U.S. military equipment. This is very expensive and will severely weaken the United States' bombing capabilities. According to Iran, its new Khorramshahr missile has an intermediate range, which is not specified but could perhaps reach this U.S. base. Moreover, the Shahed 136B kamikaze drone is a proud part of the Iranian arsenal. According to experts, it has a range of 4,000 kilometers, or roughly 2,500 miles. Both of these are touted as the weapons of choice if Iran chooses to launch such a preemptive strike. But unfortunately for Tehran, it simply doesn't have enough juice. With Iran more than 3,300 miles away from Diego Garcia, there is nothing in the country that could threaten the United States. However, they might be shipped to Yemen, where the U.S. is currently engaged in a conflict. Since the Houthis serve as an Iranian proxy group, Tehran might choose to send these missiles down to Yemen. Diego Garcia is approximately 2,500 miles from Yemen, meaning that it might barely make it. However, U.S. leaders and military experts suggest that it is impossible, and nothing within the Iranian arsenal has the capability of reaching the island. For this reason, the U.S. has set up offensive positions and does not need to rely on defending the island. Nevertheless, Iran simply doesn't care, and after suggesting that they will only use retaliatory strikes should America strike first, the narrative has slowly changed, and now it is becoming far more aggressive from Tehran. This comes after the Telegraph reported on March 31st that Iran has reconsidered its position and is now urging top commanders to launch preemptive strikes. But as we have just discovered, these strikes will be useless if they land short, making an utter mockery of Iran's current military capabilities. Tehran would want to avoid any embarrassment. So what can they do? Well, to understand this, we need to gain a better geological understanding of this small island and figure out exactly why Iran is so threatened by it. But first, More than 80% of our viewers do not subscribe to the channel. If you like this content, please subscribe and even leave a comment. It is free. Located in the Chagos Archipelago, Diego Garcia is the largest of several islands. It is currently controlled by the United States, who first built a military base on the island in the 1970s. While the reason is not mentioned, it is believed to have been part of the U.S. plan to gain a strategic hold on the Red Sea, especially during the times of the Cold War. However, Diego Garcia became a crucial part of the U.S. war on terror. Due to its strategic location, it gave both the Americans and the British a perfect location to operate from and get close to the Taliban and Al-Qaeda countries. For even more perspective, you just need to look at Iraq. Following the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center, the United States has been using this as a launch pad, easily reaching Iraq. Since Tehran sits right next door, it clearly signals the efficiency of this base and means that a similar thing could kick off and happen to Iran. This is seriously worrying Tehran. With around 4,000 troops, mainly British and American, operating on the island, Iran feels threatened. But with recent news of more B-2 bombers converging on the island, alarm bells have been ringing in Tehran. Moreover, the United States have deployed a few C-17 cargo planes to the island. The exact number is yet to be confirmed. But even scarier is the deployment of almost a dozen tankers. These tankers are a real pain and could cause a lot of frustration in Tehran, simply due to their effect on extending aircraft range. Why? Well, the B-2 Spirit has a range of 6,900 miles, but Tehran is located more than 3,000 miles away. Given the fact that it will need to return and naturally overshoot its target by a few hundred miles when deployed, it might not have the juice to make it back. Mathematicians will say that in theory, the B-2 can easily make the pass and return to Diego Garcia. But carrying a large load of ordnance leads to a significant reduction in range and increases the fuel expenditure. Having these tankers will significantly assist the United States in launching these raids while ensuring the aircraft have sufficient fuel to return home. As mentioned earlier, the addition of the 2 U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups located in the Red Sea also has a contingent of FA-18 Hornets and Super Hornets. These aircraft have a range of just 1,900 miles, but with the assistance of these tankers, they could quickly extend this range and allow for more military weaponry to reach Iran. While the use of these aircraft will probably be avoided due to modern Russian surface-to-air missiles, it still makes it a very important threat that Iran will not want so close to its borders. What is very interesting is the damage these B-2 bombers can do and the fact that they pose a real and actual threat that might severely harm Iran. Let's find out why. Commissioned to enter service in 1999, under the Bush administration, the B-2 Spirit immediately became the pride of the United States Air Force. First used against the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia through NATO missions, it is believed that these aircraft have a powerful force that can wipe out any nation undetected. Its wingspan is a massive 172 feet, while it is 69 feet long and 17 feet high. This not only makes it a formidable force, but its sleek design is intimidating to whomever had to face it. The Houthi rebels are the most recent to have endured a B-2 strike in late October of 2024. What's even more impressive is the 4 General Electric Aviation F118-GE-100 turbofan engines that power this beast of the sky. Each can deliver 17,300 pound force of thrust, allowing the B-2 to reach a top speed of 628 miles per hour. But it is the flighty ceiling of 50,000 feet that becomes a problem for the Iranians. We'll explain in just a second. The real threat to Iran is the ordnance capabilities of this incredible aircraft. It can carry a staggering 80 Mach 82 bombs, with each weighing approximately 500 pounds. This means that hell could literally rain down on whomever the United States chooses. Moreover, it can carry the GBU-38 and GBU-31 JDAMs. These missiles can be shot from the belly of the B-2, while being guided to ensure precision on strikes. But it is the 16 Mk-84 bombs that are often used to deliver serious damage that is the most threatening to Iran. These monsters weigh around 2,000 pounds each and can have a similar explosion to a nuclear weapon. To create even more destruction, the United States could opt for the BLU-109 bunker buster, which is extremely powerful but still doesn't come close to what the United States has up its sleeve. The second alternative is the 5,000-pound GBU-28, but the B-2 can carry at least one GBU-57 ABM-OP bunker buster, weighing in at 30,000 pounds. The bomb is correctly referred to as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, and virtually nothing will be able to stop it. In fact, there's no known use of it on any current targets as of this video. Now, one of these might sound like a massive problem, but the United States has built a whopping 21 of these bombers. It is said that only 19 are in service, but combining the firepower of these means that the United States can rain hell down on any target it chooses. Meanwhile, the service ceiling makes it impossible to hit for anti-air defenses, while its radar cross-section is the size of a bumblebee. So, despite its massive size, it is virtually impossible to detect. If it is detected in any way, shape, or form, the B-2 still cannot be touched. Its insane speed also means that interceptor aircraft will have a tough time detecting it in the sky. 7 of these behemoths are currently stationed at Diego Garcia, translating to about a third of the U.S. fleet. Judging by the devastation it caused in Yemen on October 27, 2024, there is absolutely no doubt that this is causing Iran some serious trouble. If this isn't scary enough, the B-2 Spree can carry at least 16 B-61-7, B-61-12, or B-83 nuclear warheads. This is enough firepower to destroy the world 10 times over with just a single aircraft. So, what can Iran do to stop this U.S. onslaught? Iran now seems backed into a corner. U.S. President Donald Trump has suggested a new deal on nuclear weapons, suggesting Iran comes to the negotiation table before this thing gets out of hand. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian responded by saying the following: "We responded to the U.S. President's letter via Oman and rejected the option of direct talks, but we are open to indirect negotiations." Basically, Iran is willing to talk to the United States, but not directly. They prefer having an intermediate play the role of negotiator, but this isn't sitting well with the U.S. president. In response to this, Trump told NBC on March 29th, "If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing." It might sound like an idle threat, but judging by the current destruction of Yemen and Trump's green light to Israel to take down Hamas, this is not a threat that should be taken lightly, and perhaps the United States Commander-in-Chief is serious when he says, "The U.S. will bomb Iran into oblivion." The stationing of U.S. B-2s is a clear indication that the U.S. might not be bluffing, and this could completely eviscerate the country of Iran. But Trump doesn't want to make this move without any reason, meaning he has a second, even more destructive approach that will slowly drain the life out of the Iranian economy, much like he had done during the first term. Under the first Trump administration, the president imposed sanctions on Iranian oil, barring other countries from buying to create destruction in the country's economy. On April 1st, Trump imposed similar sanctions on individuals from Iran, the UAE, and China, whom the United States claims are all benefiting from Iranian oil. The U.S. suggests that buying Iranian oil helps to fund Tehran's war machine. Should this continue, it will once again bring the country to its knees and perhaps even destroy the economy. Moreover, Iran doesn't have anywhere to turn, and with pressure ramping up against Hamas, the Houthis facing increasing resistance from the U.S., there is no way out for Tehran, and going on the offense could perhaps be the country's only option. But will it work, and is it even worth it for Tehran to go this far? The simple answer is no. Iran simply doesn't have the capacity to attack Diego Garcia, nor does it have the capabilities to take down a U.S. carrier strike force. Iran doesn't have the range, and its defense simply does not have enough juice to reach the US aircraft. But there is one thing Iran can do, and this is to further strengthen ties with Russia and the East. Iran has recently been selling oil to these countries, often trading in other currencies like the Chinese yuan or the Russian ruble. This will allow it to continue shipping oil to the world while retaining enough funds to continue current operations. Iran can sell its drones, which it has been doing to support Russia in its ongoing war in Ukraine. This might not be much, but it still adds to the fiscus. But perhaps the most logical solution will be to enter new negotiations with the United States. President Donald Trump has assured that coming to the negotiation table will significantly improve the country itself. It could lead to a lift of sanctions, allowing the country to do business with the world. This will lead to economic prosperity and perhaps even allow the country to follow a similar path to the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. In just a few decades, Iran can flourish, relying mostly on its energy exports. Moreover, it will significantly affect the oil price, with Iranian oil now part of the free trade market. Meanwhile, a peace agreement would bring much more stability to the region. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar have already stated that having such an agreement would largely benefit the region. Unfortunately, Iran doesn't seem likely to accept such a deal, with protests indicating that the country firmly believes Iran should take a stand against the West. Various protests with chants of "Death to Israel" and "Death to America" have erupted in recent months, certainly concluding that Iran will not come to the negotiation table. So that leaves Tehran with no choice but to fight fire with fire. As we mentioned earlier, it will be a futile attempt. The country doesn't have the means to strike US military assets in the Red Sea, and they won't be able to reach Diego Garcia either. In essence, Iran will need to count on support from Russia, which will directly create a conflict between the two nuclear superpowers. Russia has the means to target US ships in the form of cruise missiles, but this will lead to an even larger escalation of the current situation. Russia is also pondering its own military strategy following the recent announcement that the country could be running out of troops and tanks. We have created an in-depth video discussing this situation. Meanwhile, tensions in the Middle East continue to simmer, with both the United States and Iran, with all its proxies, not willing to back down. A full-scale war could erupt at any time. As things are hotting up on both the Israeli and Ukrainian fronts, there is a lot of tension that could blow up at any moment. Do you think Iran should heed President Donald Trump's warning? He has recently demonstrated just how powerful the US can be by bombing the Houthis. Make sure you check out that video next. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe to our channel.